Hey everybody, welcome to RP Matt YouTube channel. Today I'm going to rank or do a tier list ranking of the London Tube lines that just the main 11 lines, so not including the Elizabeth line. Frankly, we already know that's S tier. Doesn't include DLR, but just the 11 main underground lines. And if you haven't seen my video of me riding this every tube line in the same day, then please go check that out. You can kind of get an idea maybe of why I've made some of these rankings the way I did. But yeah, so I'm just going to go left to right here on the bottom one. Some of these will not leave the D tier, but obviously most of them will. So we've got the 11 lines here. We're going to be starting off with Waterloo and City. So I think for Waterloo and City, I'm going to have to put them... I'm going to put it in a B because it's a good line. There's nothing wrong with it. It only runs during the week. It's a commuter line, but it does have pretty big cars, air conditioning. It's not a bad line at all. Next up, I'm gonna do Victoria Line. I'm a little bit impartial to it because I live close to it. In the summer, it's a bit brutal because it does get pretty hot and sometimes a bit loud, but the cars are usually in pretty good shape. They're always, I'd say, on time or very close together. So if it's busy, you can usually wait one or two cars and then it won't be so bad. I will say if you're trying to get on to Victoria Station, it can be a nightmare. But and it goes to a lot of different places that are useful. So King's Cross, Oxford Circus, the connections to their lines are really good. Particularly Victoria Station, you can get on Circle District, etc. And yeah, so like I said, I'm a little bit impartial there. It could be a B tier depending on where how you want to do it, but that's where I'm going to put it. Circle Line. I'm going to put this in the C tier. C is for Circle. Now, the main reason I'm putting this in the C tier is it has a bit of a weird routing in that sometimes you have to get off and get on the other way to go where it looks like a straight line. And also, it's just not always on time compared to the other trains that it shares the lines with. So the cars are really nice. They're very spacious, air conditioned. They go to a lot of good places. Kensington, Notting Hill, and on the King's Cross, and on the east side, just kind of loops around down along the river, Embankment, Victoria, etc. So it is a good line. I'm going to put this in the C tier. Somebody has to go there. The Jubilee line is tough. I think you could also... This is kind of another borderline one, I think. This is actually the one closest to my office. I'm split between A and B. It is loud, can be annoying, does get very busy. However, I think I'm going to put it in the A tier because it is another one of those trains that's very... the trains are all very close together. And the stations are really cool. They've used some of them in filming Star Wars scenes, and you can kind of tell when you're in them. They feel like a Death Star type of vibe almost. And they get you a lot of good places as well. Get you all the way to Wembley, St. John's Wood, West Hampstead, all the way down to Canary Wharf and North Greenwich, Waterloo in between, Green Park in between. So it is a good line. Yeah, so I'm going to put it in A. I think Hammersmith and City is almost the exact same thing as Waterloo and City. Obviously, it doesn't go to Waterloo, it goes to Hammersmith. But for that reason, I'm going to put it in B. It is good cars. Nothing wrong with this one at all. I think it's just kind of there. It's just, yeah. Either you live on that route and you use it a lot, or you could interchange it with Circle or Metropolitan, whichever one comes first, really. So, Northern Line is definitely one of those I'm going to leave in the D tier. It does go a ton of different places. In my opinion, the way that the routing is, it should just be split into 2 or 3 different lines. It is the only one that goes to Battersea Power Station, which is a new station. I believe one of the newest. But these cars are just rough. tons of commuters, not air conditioned that I know of. Maybe there's a few, but yeah, it's just not a great line. Central Line, I'm going to leave here as well. Even though Central Line has some of the, I'd say, mid-range new cars, it's not the newest, but they're not the oldest either. So they're in rough shape. A lot of them are in rough shape, and the places they go, you get some interesting. It's an interesting environment on a Central Line car, and I believe this is one of the hottest tube lines during the summer. So I'm going to leave Central Line also in the D tier, and yeah. Okay, so now we're on to Piccadilly. My experience with Piccadilly is mostly limited to times that I've gone to and from Heathrow. And that's just because where I live, to get to Paddington Station, where the Heathrow Express is, it would take as much or more time than just getting on the Piccadilly line going straight to Heathrow. So I do like it because of that. I will say you can tell that they're very used cars. They're not bad cars. They're another one of the mid-range. I believe they're the same model, if you will, as Central Line. But I think I'm going to have to go ahead and put this. It's between B and C for me. And I think it really depends on the day. I will say I do think it deserves a spot in the B ranking. I haven't had any particularly bad experiences with it. I just wouldn't say they're the nicest either. Bakerloo line, I believe, deserves. Bakerloo's tough. I think if you just looked at the Bakerloo stations, they have a lot of character. They're really cute. There's some of the older ones. You could probably make a case to put it in A or B. And even the train cars, the way the seats are front-facing sometimes, so you have kind of the four seats together rather than rows. I do love that about them. But most of these cars, I think because they don't have cameras, they're just there's tons of graffiti in these cars. And, the places this line goes, it's kind of interchangeable with a lot of other lines for the most part. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put Bakerloo in the C. I know that some people may disagree, but that's just based on my experience. District line, I think, deserves to go. District line is tough. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and put the district line in A. So maybe even S. I don't know how many S. I really only want to have one S is the thing. No, you know what? I'm going to put district line in S. So, you could chalk my ranking up to lack of experience potentially, but my experience with district line, it's been great. It's the same cars as Circle, Hammersmith City, Waterloo City, but mainly Circle. So most of the times I've been on it have been stations that serve both Circle and District, but it does go a lot more places than District. You can go obviously way further east and way further west since it's not in a Circle. But it still serves a lot of the same places in central London, particularly along the river, with Victoria, Westminster, Embankment, all the way, further east. And yeah, they're good air-conditioned cars. I think S is fair. You could probably say A, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Now, finally, for Metropolitan, I know I said I only wanted one S tier, but I'm going to put Metropolitan up here. In my opinion, these were the coolest cars, the nicest cars that we rode on the time that we did all the tube lines in one day. It's one of the newer types of cars, similar to District, Circle, etc. But it has some of the front-facing seats as well, where you have four in a row, or four with each other in sort of there's no table like you'd have on a proper train, but it's kind of a similar setup. And then there's some of the rows too. Obviously this train is more of a northern London line, but it's just every time I've been on it, I've had a really good experience, and so for that reason, I'm going to put this in the S tier. So that's pretty much that's my tier ranking. I tried to. I'd say these are fairly evenly split. I think A and B, you could definitely make some arguments either way. I think for the most part, hopefully, I think a lot of people would agree. If you don't agree and you have strong feelings about this, please feel free to drop a comment below and tell me why I'm wrong. I mean, I'm sure that some people have strong views on the lines that they have fond memories of, for example, or live close to. And maybe I've misrepresented some of these lines, but this is just my experience in the time that I've lived in London. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more. We're going to be doing probably not too many of the transport videos, but pretty soon we're going to have a Copenhagen vlog, and then most likely we'll have an Ireland vlog next month. And yeah, so getting ready to put out some more content. Thanks for watching. Peace.